make it, right? You follow Josh Romney? Wow.
It's
is
so
Josh
fun.
still here?
Of course, yes.
Of course. I worked my butt off for your dad, man. I'm telling you. I love that guy. I love that guy.
So it's so fun to be here and so many friendly faces in the room. I've been in this industry for, gosh, I got in 2006 and we know what happened after that. So got in at very young, 21 years, and here I am. But I'm so happy to be with you guys today. I just want to give a huge shout out to your leadership, and I'm not just saying this, but I really believe that your leadership is one of the best in this industry, hands down. So a big applause to you guys.
All right, folks, we got a great little presentation to share with you guys today. I think it's some really important information that focuses on Latino home ownership, the opportunity within the Latino community, what you guys can do to participate. We're going to give you some strategies that you guys could implement in your businesses to go out and start making money, right? I represent NAHREP, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. I'm based in Las Vegas, Nevada. Woo! All right. Oh, he's from Vegas. All right, all right. All right.
Who likes Vegas?
I love that. I'm one of those Mexican immigrants who came many, many, many years ago, settled in Nevada, made my home in Las Vegas, but have lived all over the world. Spent a couple of years in Chile, spent a couple of years 4 years in the Middle East, and married a girl from India, of all places, right? Indian and Mexican, and just kind of traveled the world just a little bit. I'm a real estate broker by trade in Las Vegas. I've been a real estate broker for 25 years. NAHREP came to me about 20 months ago, more or less, and they said, we need help connecting companies with how to leverage NAHREP to build their business. It's not enough to have a partnership, right? Because anyone can give money. But how do you make a return on the investment that you guys put into the organization, right? How do you participate with chapters? How do you participate at the regional level, the national level? What is the benefit of being part of this organization? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to give some stats, some statistics, and then we're going to talk about some fun stuff on how you make money leveraging this organization. Does that sound good? Yeah. That did not sound exciting at all, at all. You guys want to make a little bit of money? Let me give you one quick stat before we keep going here, right? Latinos are the largest group of mortgage qualified home purchasers in the nation. That means that Latinos, their age group, are ready to buy homes. And we are buying homes faster than any other demographic out there, right? And the problem that we have is that we don't have the representation, the servicing that we need sufficiently enough to make it a little bit of change on that home ownership rate. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit.
So we'd like to kick it off with just sharing a little bit of our story into NAHREP as well, because I feel storytelling is where you connect, right? My friend Sarah Foley talks about this all the time. But I wanted to just explain a little bit. I'm an immigrant. Do we have any Hispanics in the house? Any Latinos? Yes! Oh my goodness. I love it. So I immigrated when I was 11 years old to the United States of America from Mexico. I was born in Mexico. My father's from there, and my mom's from Spain. So coming to a whole new culture, big dreams, I understood what the United States of America meant and the opportunities that this country has to offer. So my dad used to be a real estate agent back in the day when you could get a loan when you didn't have a job. And they needed a Spanish-speaking escrow at the title company he was working with. So that's how I got my foot in the door again, 21 years old. And I've gone through some of the rides, in this industry. And I do remember this flagship story. It was beautiful to just hear Josh talk about it. But I remember when InterCap was born. And anyway, fast forward, stayed in title for a while, and then in 2015 decided to open up my own title company, Novation Title, which we've had the opportunity to work with many of you. I'm super grateful for that. But I really wanted to make something different in this industry and shake it up a little bit and bring something special to the table. I'm only sharing this because it'll come full circle in the end. But I got introduced to NAHREP around the same time that I wanted to open up my own business. And how I got my foot in the door was people were like, you need to become a part of this local chapter. You need to become a part of this board. And I said, I don't have time. But then I realized that there needed to be a place in my life for contribution, and this was the way that I could give back to my community. So I got involved with NAHREP, became the chapter local president in 2015, which happened to be the same year I launched my company. And wow, what NAHREP has done for me in my growth as a leader, in understanding business, in learning, giving me the stage to learn how to public speak, and really understanding the power of your network and the power that our Latino community has in this country has just been unimaginable, and I'm so grateful for it. Fast forward, I got the opportunity and voted in by my national board to become the 2023 national president, and what an honor. I'm telling you guys that a lot of the relationships nationwide that I've got the opportunity to get to know people like the Joshes, anyone who is in lending is a part of this organization for a reason. And we've had, presidents of the United States speak on our stage. We've had Tony Robbins speak on our stage. I'm a big fan. I'm, part of this Black community. But, I could go on and on of you guys understanding the power behind our organization. We are the largest Latino organization in the nation, business-wise. Surpassed everyone else, which just shows you the power of that. We have over 100 chapters and over 40,000 members. And we are going to share some statistics here with you guys. And then I will end at the end, I'll wrap up my story of just bringing new perspective to you, because Latinos in America are no longer just farmers, and working and doing the jobs people don't want to do, and construction workers. They look like me and Alex, where we've built multi-million-dollar businesses. And this is your opportunity to get involved with us, because now you're dealing with a new generation of possibility.
I love it. Latinos don't just like to make babies, we like to make money too, okay? Right? They don't call us Latin lovers for nothing, right? Our population is growing, we're doing great things, and this is exciting what we're going to share with you guys today a little bit. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know how to use that clicker. I'm tech challenged here a little bit. How do you do this?
You just press it.
Just press, all right. Okay, we're going to quickly go through some of these studies here real quick, and I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to look over here, but so we produce a report every year that's called the State of Hispanic Homeownership Report. It kind of gives us a pulse of what's happening across the nation with Hispanic homeownership rate. How many Latinos are coming into the country from an immigrant perspective, and how many homes are buying, and kind of what our homeownership rate is. Now, we use studies for this, but we also like to do some interviewing of some of our top producers across the United States, across the region. The only thing I'm going to correct you on a little bit was we have about 60,000 members now. So because we just added TAS.
That was 2023, yeah.
Yeah. We're up to about 60,000 members and 100 chapters across the United States. So we're growing quite rapidly. We're actually having an event in Spain in a couple of weeks if anyone wants to go to Spain. All right? You can join me there, all right? So we're going to go ahead and go on here. So in 2024, the Hispanic homeownership rate was about 49%. It actually dipped from the previous years from 49.5%, but it's not bad news, because our net household growth actually went up by a couple of 100,000 homes. But what's happening here, and this is the exciting part for us, what's happening here is that more Hispanic households are being formed. Meaning that there's more 18-year-old Latinos that are moving out of the house and forming households than any other demographic that's out there. So while there's a little bit of a dip in this rate of the Hispanic homeownership rate, it's not a bad thing, because there's more opportunity for us as lending professionals. I have my lending license too, guys. As lending professionals to go out and service this demographic, right? And help them out here. We reached about 9.8 million homes. We have about, let's see here, 676,000. So we did about 43.3% overall household growth across the nation. So we're moving the needle on household growth across the nation. Let's talk a little bit about household formation, okay? So one of the studies that we kind of measure is, we talk about our household share. So right now, if you look at the graph here, about 15.2 of households across the United States are owned by Latinos, all right? Now, share of net household formation means how many new households are being created out there. So if you look at the column there where it says that, about 43% of new households are being driven by the Latino population, which means that we're younger and we're ready to purchase homes, right? Now,
we're actually the youngest demographic.
The youngest demographic, right?
Medium age is 30.
Age is 30. So if you look at this, it far outpaces any other demographic that's out there. And this is the exciting part for anyone that's in this room right now, is that there's an opportunity for us to go out and service this particular demographic, which we need. As Nudia said, we're not all construction workers and farmers, and that's what my father used to do, right? But I'm an educated individual. I graduated college, I've built businesses, I've lived all over the world. That is the new demographic, that is the new profile of a Latino consumer, in my opinion. Right? All right. Let's see here. I'm going to skip this one. We can go back. This is a report that we published. I'll give you the link where you guys can find it. It's a really thorough report. It's really cool. But this just kind of talks a little bit about the age of our population. We have a lot of Gen Zers that are coming up. We have a lot of millennials coming up. And these are those prime home buying years, those years, right? Our labor force, we're typically employed at about a 73% rate across the United States, which means that we are more employed and working more than any other demographic that's out there. So we're out here to make it, right? Like, there's a reason Latinos come to the United States or are born here, educate themselves here. If you look at the baby boomers, this is an interesting one here. So there's not a lot of Latino baby boomers, per se, right? There's a lot of non-Hispanic baby boomers, and they're quickly, I want to say they're dying off, that sounds terrible, but they're I guess they're dying off, right? yeah. And they're going to have to be replaced by another demographic. And that demographic is these Latinos, millennials, and Gen Xers that are out there. And that's kind of really exciting for us. I think you're up, right?
So, no, this one's still yours.
This one's mine? Okay, so we do have a couple of barriers in the United States to home ownership, all right? And this is something we've confronted. We've been doing this report for 20 plus years. And the barriers have never really changed, okay? And I think it's the same barrier that every other demographic has. But it's also an opportunity for us to, I was listening to Josh talk about the insurance thing and the opportunity that's there, right? This is the exact same thing with the Latino community. When you have limited inventory that's stopping us from going out and purchasing, rising home prices, which we've all experienced, high interest rates, the broker compensation regulations, I think they impacted it for a little bit. I don't think it's as prevalent now, because I think we've kind of figured it out, but it still impacted it there for a little bit. And then here's the big one right now, is political uncertainty, right? There's a lot happening going on right now that has people on the sidelines. So we're not exactly sure from the Latino perspective if we're even going to be in the country anymore, right? I think they call me anchor baby or something like that. These are things that are going to impact our decision making, right? These are barriers that we have to overcome.
So we also know just across the nation how increasing in prices happen, right? And so we went from an average of 350 up to 500,000 across the nation. And this report, mind you, we release a report every March at our policy conference in Washington, D.C., which you guys are all invited to come and attend. Quick plug there, but this data came out last March, right? And we're about to release our new report, so it's super important that you do download with the QR code that we're going to show at the end, the report, so you have the link, and watch out for the new data. I tell this to all business owners. If you're in business and you're not looking and reading through this report, you're missing out on a massive opportunity, because there is so much goodness and it's so rich with our Hispanic data that you have to implement that into your business plan. So please watch for the new one coming out in March. This is just a little bit, about 9 months outdated, but we've seen the increase obviously in home prices. Also, the migration of the Hispanic community, we've seen people leaving certain states, certain areas, and migrating into others. We saw what's happened in California. A lot of people have left California. A lot of people have move to Texas, places like Texas. So all the greens that you see on this graph showcase some of the states that people are moving to. If you notice, Utah is not the bright green, but we've definitely had an influx of people coming over to our state. So people are moving out of certain areas, and that's important to watch. So if you as a loan officer, mortgage professional wants to get licensed somewhere to really help support this demographic, this is a great thing to follow. Also, you know, immigration is such a polarizing topic, but despite that, the data shows that immigrants have always been a force and an important part of the economy in this country. So this is showing you some of the statistics, and if there was no immigration, the population would have begun declining. Something that's we're seeing as a big problem from a economic standpoint is the construction industry. How many of you work with builders here? So we're seeing, you know, the fear of losing all the construction workers, and we obviously play a big role in that. And about a quarter of the construction workforce are immigrants. And so keep that in mind. It just everything affects that, right? Construction trades, and the labor shortage that we're having and might have even more of as everything politically is unfolding. And just so you guys know, we do have some major priorities in NAHREP, but we're very involved in policy, you guys. This conference that we have in March is, again, in Washington, D.C. We go and speak to our local politicians at, you know, the White House. It's amazing that we get the opportunity to do that, to talk about these priorities. One of them is housing affordability. We've seen the impact of that and how it's affected all of us. I mean, by the raise of hands, how many of you have had an impact in your loans because of affordability? I think everyone in this room has, right? So we, as an organization, are really pushing this forward and having these conversations with high-level leadership in politics. Also, access to credit, that's been a big challenge for our people. Industry best practices, I don't know if you guys know, and Gary Acosta, who's the co-founder, CEO of our organization, who wanted to be here today, but he's on his way to Dubai. So he sad he couldn't be here, but you know, he was a big voice to fight this whole commission challenge that all the realtors were having. In fact, NAR brought him in as a neutral party to really help, you know, point out the details of why this would affect the actual consumer. So very involved at a high level in some of these best practices and what the industry needs are. And then macroeconomic issues. So we're having these conversations. These are priorities for us. And just as I promised, here's the QR code to download the report. So please go and do it. I promise you guys, there's so much data, we could talk about it all day. But read through it. Watch out for the new one coming up in March. And I did want to talk a little more about some points that we just did an NAHREP survey. So remember, we have 60,000 members, okay? We did an NAHREP survey and we were blown away by the information that our members shared with us. And I do want to share some of these things with you because here's where it comes full circle for you. 55% of NAHREP network are millennials or younger. 64% of our members are in real estate sales. Wink, wink. You're lenders, right? So you want to be where the agents are. 26% are mortgage lenders, and then the rest are, you know, title and other industries within housing. 28% of the NAHREP network has a net worth of $1 million. 94% of those millionaires have primary residences, and 86% have real estate investments. 69% of those millionaires own a business. Only 8% of our membership has a net worth of $75,000 or less. So here, again, data doesn't lie. I hope that you're opening up to just new opportunities and seeing this as a business plan for you. And I know you have more to share.
Yeah, let's make it a little bit more local here to Utah, because I think, I can't remember who I was talking to, you said about 80% of your volume comes from Utah, right? So there's a little under 550,000 Latinos in the state of Utah, and quickly reproducing, right? About 16% of the overall population. The median age for these Latinos is about 26 years old. So what happens when you turn 26, 27, 28, 30? You're going to start buying homes. The other important statistic is Latinos are buying homes at a younger age than any other demographic that's out there. So what we need is an army of advocates. We need individuals who are willing to stand up, ethically represent these individuals, this demographic, so they can go out there and continue to increase that home ownership rate. When I look at the home ownership rate of the general population, which is about 65, 70%. Then I look at the Latino population, that's about 49%. And that gap between 49 and 70%, to me, that's commission dollars. Now, I run a 13 office, 500 agent real estate brokerage in Nevada and Arizona. We've built mortgage companies into 14, 15 states, leveraging our NAHREP platform, our NAHREP network. We have a title business. We have a title business in Nevada as well too, right? And we've grown it utilizing this NAHREP network. A statistic that I always like to point out is that about 47% of our mortgage lenders say that they get their business from NAHREP member referrals.
Remember, guys, this is our membership.
This is our membership, right? And I look at that number and I say 47% is way too low. And I think the reason that's happening is because we don't have great producers, great lending officers. We don't have great programs and products, which I'm sure NAHREP has, right? That have come to market that are where they're educating our membership to be able to go out and leverage that product or that program to put Latinos into homes. Because what we've found is when a company does that, when they have a great product they bring to the organization, and they've got great people representing the organization, their production goes up. Their units go up, their volumes goes up, and their revenue goes up, their profit goes up, right? So it's a win-win-win situation. So that's why we're here today. It's because A, we want to invite you guys to come and get involved. We need your representation. And let me answer one question that I always get. Because I always get this, and I don't know if you get this as well too, but, well, can I participate if I'm not Latino? What would you say to that?
The answer is absolutely yes. Something that's very special about our community is that we're very loyal. And so if you do a really good job, they will refer you, their family, their cousins, los primos, like everybody. It's about trust, and even some of our own people have sadly navigated situations where trust has been broken. And so all we care about is that you really understand our culture. We speak English and Spanish, a lot of us, right?
And Spanglish, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of
a
mix. But it's important for you to really understand us. And so what does this mean for you is that you just have to get involved. Right? And so absolutely, yeah, you don't have to speak Spanish. In fact, our founder CEO does not speak Spanish.
He doesn't.
He's
That's so embarrassing.
On panels and he's like, they're trying to get him to speak Spanish. He's like, trust me, you do not want to hear my Spanish. Just different generation, right? Back in the day, it was frowned upon if you were Latino and you were speaking Spanish. So anyway, there's a reason why. But yes, you do not have to speak Spanish.
Which is interesting you say that. Like, times are changing. When I was growing up in the 70s, I know I don't look that old, but I was born in the 70s, right? That was my parents. They would say, we do not want you to have an accent. We're going to bleach you with lemon juice so you look white, right? And we don't want you to speak Spanish. You're only going to speak English. And I think that, assimilation happens. Let me give you guys some kudos here in Utah, all right? Because you guys have done a really good job on that homeownership rate for Latinos. The homeownership rate across the nation for Latinos is about 49%. In Utah, anyone want to take a stab at what it is? Oh, come on, not that high. Don't. You're not that good. Come on. Huh?
54.
About 56%, 57%, guys. So you guys are beating the national average on representing Latinos, and that's why we need you. Because we need that type of leadership and representation across the United States. And I think you guys are in several states, right? I think you guys are...
So, Alex, I want to just, before I forget, so the point that he made about we're the younger demographic and we're buying homes earlier, what did we hear yesterday in the forecast? Did anyone attend that? What was it that they talked about the average age of home buying? 40. However, we just gave you a lot of information here. Latinos are the youngest demographic, and we're 30. So keep that in mind as you're out there, talking to our people, because we're ready, we're mortgage ready earlier than what we heard yesterday.
And we're ready to buy, guys. We're ready to buy. If they wanted to get involved here locally, what would they have to do?
So here's where the opportunity comes, right? And of course we are NAHREP mega fans. I mean, this organization has completely changed my life. It has for Alex, so we're biased. And of course we want you to get involved based on the data we shared of our members, right? So get involved with us. We have a local chapter, Salt Lake NAHREP chapter. In fact, we have Allie, who is a part of the local board. Where are you? Yes! So please come and ask us questions about it, but just get involved. And if it's not with NAHREP, get involved with the Latino community, you guys. I just told you guys that all we care about really is that you understand us. So get to know our culture, get to know our pain points, get to know our fears. And if you can build trust with us, we will use you forever.
Agreed. Are there any questions that we can answer? We want to make sure that we leave you guys with all the information that you need. We're really friendly. If you guys ever want to call us, we'll give you our phone numbers, Instagram. We just want to see people grow, right? I mean, at the end of the day. So, any thoughts, comments, questions?
Is your contact information in anywhere that we can?
You can email me, nuria@novationtitle.com. So it's NURIA @novationtitle.com. I'm here locally, guys. I'm available for any questions that you might have, or anything that comes up. And Alex.
And I guess I should. So my title is Vice President of Partnerships and Strategic Initiatives for NAHREP. I only started with him a couple of years ago, not even 2 years ago. But basically, I'm here to help connect you guys with the organization across the United States. Because what we find is when you guys get involved and you start building relationships across state lines, really good things happen. Referrals fly back and forth, volume goes up, units go up, revenue goes up, profit goes up, and it's a win-win situation. Because at the end of the day, what all that means is that our demographic is being represented by the most ethical, the best programs, the best producers, the best professional lenders that are out there, or realtors that are out there, right? And that's what we want. We want to move that needle on the home ownership rate, and you guys are obviously doing it here, so maybe you can show us how to do it across the nation, all right?
Something that I did want to just end with on the storytelling part of this is, I just hope that today brings to light a different perspective within you, that everything you've known or understood about our demographic, everything that you felt like, that you maybe put us in a bucket. And I stand before you with Alex so that you can see a different opportunity, right? I've created and built a multi-million-dollar business. So has Alex. We're professionals. We have money to invest with. So please just open up your mind into a different avatar of our demographic, because I don't want you guys to miss out on opportunity. So get involved, get to know us, and is there anything else that you'd like to say?
I was just going to tell Josh to give his dad a message. He needs to run again, man. Please.
Yes, please.
I'm going to tell you, I was his Hispanic Latino liaison for Nevada, okay? And in Nevada, I think Obama got 76% of the vote the year before, right? The previous election. We weren't able to change that much, but we did drop him 6%, which is huge in Nevada, from 76 to 70, right? So we got Mitt a few more votes, right? But he's probably the best individual. I love that dude. So please, he's not going to remember me, but tell him I love that guy. Yeah. And I got to introduce him. I got to introduce him once, and people didn't care what I said before. You know, he came up and talked. Now I talk after you, and people don't care what I say after you. So I'm sandwiched between two Romneys here.
Any questions, guys? Is this, yes,
Does Novation have Spanish-speaking escrow officers?
absolutely,
Okay, that
100%, yes.
That's a good question,
And
though.
assistants, I have probably half of my staff is Hispanic.
That's a great question, because let me ask the group here. Do you have to speak Spanish to service the Latino community? You don't. You don't.
it's
It
helpful.
helps. It helps. It helps. Obviously, it's going to help you. But I'm telling you right now that if you're ethical and you're honest and you're hardworking and you build a relationship, you can Google Translate that stuff, which I wouldn't recommend, but you could, right? You could.
I think like the whole point is that ethics and trust will override if someone can speak the language. Obviously, people feel comfortable with their culture. That is true as well, Carolina. But also, that will override it. So please keep that in mind. I want to just give a huge shout out to Steve for having us here today.
Yes.
Like the priorities of your company, Josh, that like you're caring about this. It really means a lot to us. And so just a big thank you for putting this as a priority.